Okay, this topic is on trig applications. Make sure you've printed out the page and then you copy down what we're going to do here. I'm going to do the top two, and then there's one left for you to do on your own. They're all kind of similar, and in each case we're kind of going through and we're finding a missing angle, but we're going to have to find something else with the triangle. So we have a triangular patio is built along a 40-foot wall. So that means this whole distance here is 40. The angle that the patio borders makes with the left wall is 30 degrees. That's this angle. And the patio's furthest point, shown at point P, from the wall is 12 feet. So that's 12 feet from here to here. We got to find the angle that the wall makes with the right side. That's this x. So basically we're going to be looking for x. And just whether the situation is really doesn't matter as much as trying to figure out what we need. Well, to find out what x is, I need at least two sides of the triangle. Well, I know this is 12. I don't know what the hypotenuse of that triangle is, and I don't know what this side is. But I can use this triangle over here. So I'm going to call this piece right here y. And then I can go over and I could say tangent, because I've got opposite and adjacent. Tangent of 30 is equal to 12 over y. And I'm going to solve for y, so I'm going to multiply by y first. Then I'm going to divide by tangent of 30. You just have to calculate that out real quick. So if I do 12 divided by the tangent of 30, we get 20.78. So we could say 20.8 would be fine. So that means y is 20.8. Well, if the whole length is 40, if I subtract that from 40, I'm going to get 19.2. Now I've got two sides of my triangles. I've got this side and I've got this side. Again, when I look at my reference angle, which is x, it's opposite and adjacent. So I'm going to use tangent. So it's tangent of x is equal to adjacent, opposite, which is 12, over my adjacent, which was 19.2. So that means I'm going to do is I'll do tangent inverse of 12 over 19.2. So you want to calculate this and then use the idea of doing the answer or whatever else it might be. So if I do 12 divided by 19.2, I get about 0.6245. Then I'll do tangent inverse of that, and I get that x is equal to 31.98, so about 32 degrees. Okay, we're mostly concerned about you showing your steps and what you're doing in terms of figuring it out versus getting the exact perfect decimal. Okay, let's look at this next one. So again, the situation really doesn't matter in terms of what's happening with here. We have a tent, has a central post secured to the ground. That's what this is. Using two ropes. The long rope measures 16 feet and forms a 32-degree angle. Okay, this kind of describes the figure. The other line is 11 feet. I want to know what angle does the short line make with the ground. That's x. Well, again, if I'm going to figure out what x is, I need two pieces. So I'm not going to be able to figure out what this side is very easily, but I can figure out what this one is. So I'm going to call this side just y. Okay, so we got to kind of figure out what y is first. Then I've got opposite. Remember, I'm just looking inside this one triangle, and this side's the hypotenuse, so that makes this sine. So I'm going to do sine of 32 is equal to y over 16. So I multiply by 16, I get 16 sine of 32 is equal to y. Calculating that out, we get that y would equal about 8.5 or 8.48. So this equals 8.48. Now to figure out what x is, I have opposite and hypotenuse, so I'm going to use sine again. Sine of x is equal to 8.48 divided by 11. Then x would be simply sine inverse of that division problem. So if I divide this by 11, do sine inverse, we get 50.4. So about 50.4 degrees. Okay, so make sure you have these two copied down if you need to rewind the video, or pause it right here so you can get all your information. And then you can do this problem, which is pretty similar. So you got to think about it again. Big idea is to figure out what x is.